As you notice, there's some pretty big gaps. This wasn't the tightest log structure ever built. So we're going to have to caulk these gaps in these saddle copes in order to keep the weather from coming through, in order to keep air from leaking, and also to keep bugs from coming into the home. So this is a relatively easy process. I typically do this with the yellow open cell type foam because it conforms to the various widths a little bit better. And I'll go the entire length and push some of this backer rod material into those open areas. And I'll push it back just far enough so it's slightly recessed. That'll allow me to put the smallest bead possible of the caulking to seal that up. Okay, Debbie, the final thing I want to show you, and I left this till last because it's the most fun, is doing a caulk line down the corner. It's sometimes referred to as zigzagging or doing a rope bead down the corner, and it's probably one of the trickiest. It takes the most time to get the hang of. I've switched to the full 1/2 inch diameter tip, and that seems to work the best in these corners. So why don't you watch as I lay a bead in here. These you want to put in real slowly and try to get as smooth as you possibly can because they are tricky to tool out. And I'd highly suggest only doing 1 or 2 logs at a time, especially when you're starting, because it does take a little bit of time to get the feel for this. I've never had a lot of success in trying to tool these out with trowels, so in my opinion the 1-inch foam brushes seem to be the best bet. It's usually best to wait if you've got horizontal lines coming in until the horizontal lines set up. That way you can press hard against those lines and not have to worry about messing them up. These are still pretty fresh, so I have to be real careful in how they join. Again, the critical thing is trying to make sure that you get the edges sealed up. Tricky part is to do that and then make it look good too. So that gives us a total of about 18 inches that I was able to lay in there at a time. I'd suggest beginner starting with just 1 or 2 of those lines at a time.
1 log at a time?
1 log at a time, especially on a hot day like this. This is really tedious and difficult. An experienced, to do a nice line, a wide line like this of about 8 feet tall will take an experienced chinker anywhere from 30 minutes to sometimes even as much as an hour to really detail them out and make them look real nice.
So Tracy, aren't corners more susceptible to air infiltration?
Yes. Corners seem to be one of the worst areas that we typically find in a log home for having not only air, but some water leakage and also a place for flies and bugs to get into the home. So corners need particular detail, as well as around windows and doors, and typically the top, very top of the log where it meets the ceiling as it goes to the exterior walls. Those are always the areas that I recommend everybody doing. And then depending upon the style of log and how effective they were at sealing it when they put it together would depend on whether you need to do all of the runs.
So sometimes people do just opt for those certain locations, but not between the logs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.